Hello. My name is Aniruddha, and today I will be painting an Arctic Tern. I'm starting my process by wetting down some areas on the body of the bird. This is where I want the color to be present initially. What you will notice in the reference image is that the bird is fairly light colored. There is a form shadow on the bird, but it is very hard to distinguish between the form shadow and the light gray color which is present on the body of the bird. So, in my painting process, I'm going to separate those two. First, I'm going to paint in the body color as I'm doing right now, and then I will add in the form shadow. The color on the body of our bird transitions almost seamlessly from gray to white. So to maintain that illusion, I need to make sure that all my edges are nice and soft. As this first layer dries, I will move on to the next one, which is the form shadow. I'm working on a slight slope, so the paint will flow from the top of my page to the bottom of my page. This time as well, I started first by laying down some clean water and then introducing my pigment to it. So I'm going to lay down this big shape of the form shadow all the way from the wing across the body. Once I've put down the basic shape, that's when I will add a little bit of darker paint and give it some definition. And while that shape is still wet, I am looking to expand the shape into a bright, colorful, splashy background, giving my bird a little bit of punch. I try to keep my brush marks bold and playful. The goal of that background shape, that background splash, is to trap some light on the front edge of the back wing. You'll also notice that I occasionally lift up my paper and move it around. This helps the water to flow, thus maintaining that flowy character of watercolor. And it also enhances the granulation of that turquoise color. The Arctic tern is famous as the bird which has the world's longest migration. They nest in the summers in the northern reaches of the northern hemisphere, and then during what is winter in the northern hemisphere, they will migrate all the way south to almost Antarctica. That's like a pole to pole migration. Now, I live in the tropics, I live in Mumbai city, so on most occasions there are no Arctic terns here. But last year there was a cyclone which hit the west coast of India. This cyclone not only affected people but it also affected the migration of these birds. And one of two of them got lost and somehow ended up in my city. So that is why I just had to paint one of these this year. As a finishing touch to this layer as well, I'm going to soften some of the edges. For this I come in with a damp brush with no paint on it and just run it along an edge. All the paint on my page is currently dry. I'll now turn my attention to that back wing of the bird. This back wing to me visually appears a little bit cooler, so I've adjusted my grey puddle accordingly. For the wingtips, I'm now using my synthetic hair dagger brush. All the material that I've used in this video is listed down in the description. Now I plan to connect that cool grey shape to another splashy turquoise background. I usually have a rough plan when I start a painting, but there is also a lot of improvisation involved. Now, I'm not very happy with the connection between that cool grey and the turquoise. So, I'm using my tissue paper to lift some of it off and break up that connection. There's a general belief among beginners that watercolor is an unforgiving medium. Well, this is not entirely true. Any errors can be corrected as long as the wash is still wet. One of the hairs from either my brush or my mustache has just fallen off into that wash. I hate it when that happens. Just as in the previous layers, I'm coming in with some darker paint to add definition. And I will also be smoothing some of the edges with a damp brush. All our big shapes are now complete. So it's on to the smaller shapes. This is the point in the painting where I usually slow down, as there isn't any shape that needs to be connected or any wash that needs to be worked in before it dries. Going to turn my attention to his bill now, and I'm going to exaggerate the brightness of that red just a little bit. So if you've made it all this way into the video, I thank you for sticking around. And if you're enjoying what you've seen so far, I also have longer full length tutorials of how to paint these loose, splashy and colorful birds. If you would like free access to one of those classes on my Skillshare page, there's a link down in the description. Do check it out. The top of our bird's head appears black in color. In nature, there is no true black. Most of these dark colors are usually combinations. So if you use a black straight from the tube, it usually ends up looking a little bit dull. So my advice to you is always mix these blacks as much as possible. Here I'm using my phthalo blue and cadmium red to mix a purplish black for the top of the head where the sun is hitting, and then a little bit of a cooler black as I transition into the shadow. I usually leave the eye for last. First, I'll just put in a nice flat application and just leave out a little hint of a highlight. And in that black application, I will just gently lift up a little bit of paint to give that eye a spherical appearance. A small signature, and we are done. Please don't forget to do all the YouTube things, like, subscribe, share it around. I will see you in the next one.